Oh, what's up, my Guitkit crew? I got one hand. I got two hands. I got a zither. Slither, slither, slither. Listen to me, man. This is an Appalachian. This is an Appalachian zither. And I'm holding it the way I'm holding it, present it to you the way I'm presenting it, because I can't stick it on one of these hooks up here. So I gotta hold it, I gotta hold it for you. So this slithery zither comes from the great swap meet. The great swap meet in our heart. Oh, sorry, zither. This is made in traditionally Appalachia. This particular example was made in Korea. Oh. I picked it up for $30. Now, he wanted $35, but he had an instrument on the floor that I thought was very wonderful. So I was excited to get it. And it was all fucked up, and I only paid $10 for it. So I valued that a lot more. So I gave him $40 for both instruments. He said, "Oh, that's great." We were both happy, man. Anyway, man, I was like, "Hey, man, how much you want for that zither, man?" And he's like, "That's not a zither, that's a dulcimer." Dulcimer is a zither, my man. A zither's anything you play on your lap, like. Anyway, man, I'm excited about it, man. I don't know how to play it. You know what I mean? I saw a video of a guy playing a zither on the internet, and he looked really good, man. I thought about Bobby G, like, on the stage, you know what I mean? The lights around me playing the zither, and all the Appalachian girls like, "Oh, he's good, Hoss, he's good, Hoss." I was in a dream state, man, so I'm excited about this instrument. You can tell I'm excited, man. So this is Korean. It's a Sekova brand. It's a rare brand. I've seen it. I think that's United Musical Distributors. I'll talk a little bit about that. I like to talk, man, so you get a little bonus. So let me flip you around, man. You got a good episode this week, people, so please be with you. Let's flip you around, man. All right, people. So we talked about Sekova recently. About 3 or 4 months ago, we had this episode about this Japanese-made instrument right here. You know what I'm saying? This was, of course, produced in the Empire of Japan, right? Whereas this particular Zither is a Korean-made instrument, also with the same Sekova brand, made in Korea. 53. I don't know if that's the model number or the serial number. Don't know. Don't care. Sekova, trademarked brand name, I believe, of U.S. musical distributors, U.S. musical merchandise distributors, New York City. We already talked about that, man. So let's talk about the zither, man. This is the Appalachian Dulcimer. Now, there's a murky history about this instrument. I mean, some people are like, this goes back centuries in the backwoods of Pennsylvania. Not so true, really. I mean, this instrument, the modern version of it really came about in like 1910, 1915. I mean, there were always, for centuries, some hillbilly, in his cottage that, knew a little bit about music, building some kind of, instrument out of like a cigar box or, a little primitive thing. Every culture, even in the bush in Africa, they find a gourd or something, put some guts, over it. A sinew, use it as strings. I mean, that's, going back 10,000 years, But this particular instrument, man, to claim anything other than the fact that it's about 100 years old, in itself would be a lie. So the Appalachian Dulcimer really is either 3 or 4 stringed instrument. Now the strings will run over here. This is for either, This is for the 2 strings, you know what I'm saying? You put 2 strings here, like a 12-string guitar would be, and this is just like the bass string right here. This is another string. Now it's generally tuned at D, A, D, although you can go D, A, D, A, have like a little octave thing going here. But I'm just going to go D, A, and then double D, man. I like those double Ds, man. And they go over here, man. You know what I'm saying? And they go here, and then they meet up here, the nut, right? And these 2 go under here. See how that was a little fatter? You know what I'm saying? See how there's a little carving in there for 2 strings. And they go under this little bar here. See that little bar? Kind of like a drone kind of thing. And they get strung up, man. Generally, it's done kind of more like a violin, with pegs, you know what I mean? Like two on this side, two on this side. But look, in Korea, we make it just like the way you like. So let's talk a little bit more about the Zither, man. Like I said, the Appalachian Dulcimer, this is classified as a type of zither. What is a zither? Well, a zither is a stringed instrument where the strings stretch over the soundboard, and the soundboard is incorporated, you know what I mean, into the fretboard. You know what I'm saying? Either, you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's all one piece, man. There's no, like, you know, how a guitar has a, you know what I mean, you do all your little fretting, not over the soundboard. Everything's done over the soundboard with a zither, man. You know what I'm saying? So let me take you the roots. I'll show you a couple of examples of, like, where the zithers come and gone hither. The hither coming of the zither. Alright, so this is a lap harp, a melody harp, where every string is tuned to a different note. You know what I'm saying? A little out of tune. I actually used this on my last recording that I made. It was pretty cool, man. You know what I mean? You can press this if you get a little vibrato too. You go. Hard to do with one hand, but it's pretty cool. Now they've been making these in Central Europe for, you know, I don't know when this was made. Could have been made 50 years ago. Could have been made 15 years ago. It was made handmade in Romania. Got it at the flea market for $5 a while back. Messing around with it, it's pretty cool. So these were being made, I don't know, 100 years. You know, it's a little like, it's like a harp with a sound box. You know, a little tiny harp with a sound box is essentially what this instrument is. Now, this, you know what I mean, was improved upon in Germany in like the late 1800s. And they made what they called a guitar zither, which I have an example of. I would like to show it to you. Can I show it to you? Okay. Here's an example of a zither guitar harp. This was made by the Oscar Schmidt Company in Jersey City, New Jersey. Now, Oscar Schmidt had an interesting sort of history. This is probably the only instrument I have in my collection that was made while Oscar Schmidt himself was still alive and breathing in the building. Now, Oscar Schmidt went into business with his older brother Otto in like 1871. It was really Otto's show, you know what I mean? Otto was like an inventor and a musician, and he was always coming up with innovations, you know what I mean, getting all kinds of patents and improvements on his instruments, but he was only mildly successful. Mildly meaning not very. And Oscar more or less like studied the market, studied, you know, trends, you know what I mean? In the 1890s, you know what I mean, there was a guy, I think his name was Menschauer, another German guy in Jersey City, New Jersey, where their factory was located, that was churning these out, man. Real popular, man. Now, this is a real fucked up condition when you see the frets all broken off and all the strings. Now, this would have been like 3 strings strung in here, like a triad chord. You know what I'm saying? And then there would be a bass string for each one. You see how it's like the triad and the bass, you know what I mean? And that you would string them, you get a whole chord, and these would be the individual notes. Now, there would be a little wooden gizmo that went over here that you would press the buttons, and it would automatically sort of pluck the chords and stuff. You know what I mean? That's called a gizmo. I don't have that. That's why I never restored this, because, you know, the gizmo is almost impossible to sort of restore. Now, this does not say Oscar Schmidt on it. Oscar Schmidt never put his own name, really, on anything. They had all kinds of, you know, fake names. You know, Stella, we talked about that. This was called the Paramount Concert Harp Company. And when radio was invented, it became the Paramount Radio Concert Harp Company, only for the fact that radio was popular. But they made this instrument from like 1896, when Schmidt himself, you know what I mean, bought out the other guy in Jersey City. You know what I'm saying? Put his name on it. You know what I mean? And then they started making it right in their own factory. They joined forces. And this is what really made Oscar Schmidt, this particular instrument. Made the same instrument for 5, 6, 7, 8 different, you know, companies. And they used traveling salesmen. That's why. You know, and they had all different companies. They didn't want to identify it because, you know, the salesman would get a little town. They'd go to door. You know what I mean? And if they didn't sell to the person, Oscar Schmidt himself thought, well, maybe this guy wasn't very good, man. He thought he was an asshole. So we'll send another guy in there, you know, so it had a different brand name in it. And look, we had somebody here last week with the same instrument. No, my friend. This instrument is made by Paramount. The other guy, he's Stella. He is asshole. This different company all together. You know what I'm saying? So that's why all the different brand names, because he was thinking real localized, man. He was not thinking of big time. But a lot of these that exist, they pretty much blacked over the original label, and they put like special advertising, you know what I mean, example. And there's this Paramount. And here's a mint condition example of this, you know what I mean, instrument. You can see the little gizmo. See that gizmo, man? I'll give you these real quick picture tour here. You can see that's what the gizmo looked like. And you know what I'm saying? All the different positions and notes that you would put over there, and you'd get like a special chords, and you know what I mean? It'd be a fun little time. This is the sticker that was originally in here. Manufactured New Jersey, what's up? Paramount Harp Company of America. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the sticker said, man. They put that sticker, the special advertising example. They blacked over the original one. This means that this belonged to like one of their trained salesmen. So they had a whole staff, like maybe like 30, 40 guys that learned how to play these things and went out. And each one of their instruments was marked. You know what I'm saying? They got the whole kit. And that's what this is an example of right here. You know what I mean? A mint condition, you know what I mean? With the little book and shit. You know what I mean? This is what the salesman would get. So they had to learn how to play it. And hopefully if they can make the sale, you know what I mean? They'd be rewarded. You know what I mean? Anyway, man. So that's about this instrument. I wasted a couple minutes of your time talking about it. But this was hugely popular, like from 1890 to like 1910. And then there's just, you know, by 1906, the mandolin surpassed it. And by like 1910, it was forgotten about altogether. And you know what I mean? This is probably sat in a garage for like 100 years. You know what I mean? In fucked up shape. Just getting more fucked up by the day, people. So let's get back to our Appalachian Zither, man. So this instrument is in excellent condition, people. Fantastic. Doesn't seem to need any work at all, other than the strings put on, which might be an experience in itself. Might be enjoyable. You know, might be cursing. You know what I mean? It might, you know, be some kind of problem. I did see a little cleft palate right here in the nut that might need to be filled. I might need to cut a new nut for it. I don't know. But when stringing a new instrument, you know what I mean, not familiar to you, always get 2 sets of strings. And I got some really good strings. I didn't get like, you know what I mean? One's from China. You know, I wanted the best of the best. Because, you know what I mean, it's the first time I ever played this instrument. So I don't want to be, you know what I mean, like, hey! I hear it's an actually pretty instrument, you know, like easy instrument to play. So, you know what I mean? That's a, you know what I mean, my alley. So, I'm going to tune it up. You know what I mean? Get the strings on. And I'll see you at the glam shots, man. You know, I'll learn how to play a little tune. You know what I mean? I'll tap dance my way back into your heart, man. You know what I mean? I'll see you at the glam shots. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. It sure is a strange instrument. I figured it out, man. It took me like 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? No problems getting the strings on. Once I figured it out, I realized that there were some maintenance things that I should have been done to this guitar. I, you know what I mean? Disregard my own sort of instinct with instruments and my excitement to just, you know what I mean, get strings on it. You know what I'm saying? What I think happened, and the reason I own this instrument now is that this, you know what I mean, broke down the middle here. And this started buzzing. This string started buzzing because the, you know what I'm saying, the little nut was broken. So, you know what I mean, instead of plugging that, I just like, yo, I'm a pretty smart guy. And I just made another nut on the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, man. The drone strings will be up here. You know what I mean? A little weird spacing. You know what I mean? I never, you know what I mean? Anyway, man. So, probably what happened, man, was this guy who owned it before me, you know what I mean, didn't understand with the string down there and the nut being broken, the string was buzzing. And what he decided to do was started, you know what I mean, filing down these frets, which I didn't see. I didn't look at that really closely, man. And he fucked up some of these frets, you know, trying to get it to the point where it wasn't buzzing anymore, and he just didn't have no luck, man. So I should have done a full fret job on it, but I didn't because I didn't even see that. So, you know, again, like a real smart person would have just taken these strings off of it. You know what I'm saying? Carefully done a fret job. You know what I mean? And then been happy, you know, maybe even fix this, right? And then we've been totally, you know what I mean? It's a really easy thing to do, too. But instead of doing that, man, I did the same thing this other motherfucker did before me, man. I got out like a little hammer, you know, tap hammer, I tapping these frets down and singing them off and shit, you know what I mean? Trying to do it the wrong way. And, you know what I mean? I did it the wrong way and it kind of worked. You know what I'm saying? I'm just too lazy to loosen the strings and do a real fret job on it to replace that nut. I probably never will, man. When I kick whoever gets this, that's my advice to you, man. Loosen these strings, man. Pull them off real quick. Do a real good fret job on here. Put some nice, oil on this and some wax. You know what I'm saying? Put a little bit of super glue in there and some baking soda. Fill that in a little bit, man. That's my advice to my future friend. Hopefully you two will still exist when I kick. It could be tomorrow. It could be a million tomorrows from now. Who knows, man? Let's not get so macabre. Macabre. You know what I'm saying? We got a new instrument, man. We should be happy. We figured out how to play it. You know what I mean? You can only get a couple chords out of this fucking thing for each tuning. You know what I'm saying? You can't get like the full spectrum. But, you know what I mean? That's the way it is, man. Learn and live. So, let's hear it, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's hear it in Sekova. You know what I'm saying? Peace be with you, my friend. Look after yourself. Peace be with you. And there it is, folks. The 5353 Sekova Appalachian Dulcimer. U.S. musical merchandisers must have had some kind of Amish Mennonite contact, man. You know what I'm saying? Jeremiah, did you make contact with them city folk again? That's a whole heck of a lot of dulcimers for you to have produced in only 3 months. No, cousin, nah. Basically, this is the one to have, though, if you're like a guitarist, you know what I mean, based, amateur, because most of them have like a little butterfly shape, and like a violin kind of thing going on. And if you're holding like a guitar like this, there's no way you'll be able, get to them frets through the chords and stuff. You got to do it like, I didn't get to do it like this. One's even got strap buttons, man. So, you know what I mean? My dream of sitting the lights with all the Amish chicks around me is like coming true today. If they only had devices to watch this shit, man, I'd be set. No, I'm just kidding, man. Anyway, very poorly constructed looking, but a very good instrument, man. Looks like it was made in Jeremiah's barn, you know what I'm saying? And it's easy to like sort of sound good on it, Look, I only played this thing 10 minutes now, man. You imagine that shit? Just figure out the chords, you know what I mean? And you're set, man. So, honor the great hillbilly spirit in the sky, man. She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus, and her boyfriend too. She's a good girl, crazy about Elvis, loves horses, and America too. Hey, man, Appalachian Mania, man. Peace be with you, all my Zither friends. Slither, Zither, Slither, Zither. Wash your hands, man. Rest in peace, Thomas Petty, man. Your old Seminole friend of mine, man. You Seminole.